guys, welcome back to Cidery from Scratch. We are actually in Traverse City, Michigan. We're visiting my parents right now, so it's pretty exciting. We're in the place that we want to open up our cidery someday. Today we have a pretty cool video we want to show you. We're going to go over some of the common terminology used in making cider and the cider process, and then we're also going to show you some of our equipment that we have. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video and hopefully you learn something. Stay tuned. All right, guys, these are some of the terms that David is going to talk you through today in no particular order. So we wanted to get these here and kind of go over some of the equipment that we have.
All right, everybody, as you saw before, we got our table of supplies here, and the first one we got is the new Cider Maker's Handbook. This is what we've been reading day in and day out to learn how to make some of this homebrew stuff so that we can perfect our recipes and go from there. First thing you're going to need is some kind of apple mixture. If you don't have the ability to get pomace, which is the fresh cut apple pieces that you're going to press into the must and use that fresh. If not, then you can go to the store, get any kind of apple juice, just try to get unfiltered, unpasteurized. First thing you want to do before you use any of this equipment here or any equipment you have is you want to make sure you sanitize it. So there's sanitizing and there's cleaning. You want to make sure to sanitize before every use and clean after use. Sanitization will kill all the bacteria and prevent anything from contaminating your cider. So what we have here is Star Sands, and just follow the directions. It'll tell you how much to mix with how much water. After that, you would pour your apple juice, apple cider, into a 5-gallon or a 1-gallon, depending on what you're doing. We are using more of the 1-gallon carboys because we want to be creative. We want to make a bunch of different types of cider and tweak every little bit here and there so we can have what we would prefer and what will end up being our end-all be-all cider. From there, you want to make sure to use some sort of yeast killer. What we have is Potassium Metabisulfite. That's what we're using. We mix this with the apple juice first thing. Let that sit for 24 hours. That'll kill any unwanted yeast or bacteria that might be in it. From the addition of the yeast, you're going to add some type of nutrient if you would like to increase the fermentation process, the turning of all the sugars into alcohol, which turns your cider into a hard cider. You have either Go Firm rehydration nutrient, or we also have Fermade K. We typically will add the Go Firm to start with the yeast, and then if we have the need or if we have a stuck fermentation, we'll add some Fermade K along the way. Once you've added your ingredients and your juice, you'd want to top it off with an airlock. That'll keep the oxygen from getting in, but also allowing the CO2 to escape. Then we will add a nutrient to the yeast if we want to increase the speed at which fermentation occurs. Fermentation is the turning of all those sugars into alcohol that'll cause your cider to turn into a hard cider. So we use Go Firm and Fermade K. Typically, the Go Firm will add with the yeast in a mixture going into, we have a bunch of these 5-ounce little cups. We'll mix them all up in there with a little bit of water. Then we would dump those using the funnel into our carboys, into the mixture. From there, we would add our airlocks on top to make sure CO2 can escape, but no other oxygen or contaminants can enter into the carboys. Along the path of making the cider, we'll need to test our specific gravity and our Brix levels. Specific gravity being the amount of sugar in the cider. We have a bunch of these tiny little straws that we would dip into the carboys, grab a little bit of that juice, drop it onto a refractometer. You can also use a hydrometer, but the refractometer is quite simple. You just point it up into the light, shows you your Brix on the left, your specific gravity on the right. After the fermentation has taken place, you've reached as close to 1.0 specific gravity as possible, you'll want to begin racking. Racking is when you're going to start taking your cider from your carboys, put it into some other kind of container. whether that is another carboy, an IBC container, which is just a massive intermediate bulk container storage. Once you've racked it, you would have left all the lees, the yeast cake down at the bottom. That's the stuff you want to take out so the cider clears. Then, after you've racked it, you'd want to put it into your bottles. We just have these 12-ounce bottles here. Once they're in the bottles, you take a capper and a cap, easily put it over top, cap it up. Let that sit for a few weeks, cold, dry area, then you'll be ready to drink.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something going through David's walkthrough there of some of the terms and the equipment that we do have. As always, if you do have questions, please comment below, and thank you so much for your support. Please like and subscribe and share with anybody that you think would find this interesting.
And always remember, follow your dreams.